so we've talked about Punnett squares. I do want to remind you that when you see a chart like this, you've got the first base over here, the second base, and the third base. Notice that these have U's, so this is an RNA chart. Okay, these are the amino acids. Stop just means that that's a stop codon. It tells the ribosome to stop adding amino acids. In a question regarding this chart, they might give you DNA and you have to transcribe it to RNA and then use this chart to translate the RNA codons into amino acids. Okay, but they might just give you RNA and then you just have to translate it. All right, so be careful. Make sure you know what you're looking at. So this is a diagram showing bacterial transformation. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit there for you. All right, so what's happening here is you have, this is the DNA, this is a plasmid. A plasmid is a circular piece of DNA. And so what they're going to do is they're going to cut this this plasmid with a restriction enzyme. Then they're going to insert the human genome, or not the human genome, a human gene. Maybe this is the gene for insulin. All right? And so they insert that into the plasmid. Then they put the plasmid back into the bacteria. Now, this bacteria is going to start making insulin. Okay? So that's bacterial transformation. All right? All right. Another type of question they might give you is something like this. This is a DNA fingerprint. And so what, in this scenario, you have a newly discovered bird. And this is the DNA fingerprint of the bird. And these are birds it might be related to. And so what you would do is you would look across and you would find the ones that match. Okay? And then whichever bird has the most matches is more closely related. So like bird number 2 is a distant relative. So it's only related because it's a bird, right? Bird 3 is more closely related. Bird 4 has 1, 2, 3, 4 similarities. Bird 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 similarities as well. Okay. But you notice that bird 4 has this extra bit here. So bird 5 would be the most related. Bird 2 would be the least related, or the least closely related. All right, remember, if you see a bacteria diagram and you see some squiggles and you see a circle, this is the DNA. This is a plasmid. Plasmid is a circular piece of DNA, and we can take that out, we can alter it and put it back in, and that bacteria cell will do what we tell it to do. Also want to talk about the Human Genome Project. The Human Genome Project was meant to map all human genes. Now, that does not necessarily mean we know what those genes do. We're still working on that part. But we have, as in the early 2000s, we finished mapping all human genes. So it's like an alien language. We know what the book says. We just don't know what the words mean. Okay. The more closely related a species is, right, how can I say this? So if the DNA is similar, so similar DNA means closely related. And as the similarity increases, so does the closeness of relation. Now, because DNA gets transcribed to RNA, which gets translated into protein, the more similar a protein is, then the more closely related something is. For example, if we look at these proteins, okay, all right, we see that they all start off the same, then we have a difference, and they're all the same, and then we have some differences. So we might be asked which two of these protein sequence or these amino acid sequences show the most close relation or the most distant relation. In this case, we were asked to find the ones that were most similar. And 1 and 4 are the most similar because they only have one difference. Everything else has 2 different amino acids, so they are more distantly related. All right, that's it for today. I hope these are helping, and I'll see you next.